Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory. Thank you so much for rocking with us on this Saturday morning, kind of a special treat because we don't usually do Saturdays. So if you're rocking with us, thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button because it helps the channel grow. We're also on the audio side. So wherever you find your shows and podcasts, if you're on the go and you can't pull it up on YouTube, well, you can listen to us as well. And if you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review. Give us a 5-star because that's obviously going to help the channel grow as well. And Bryan, we've got a lot to talk about, actually. Some things have obviously come out in the news.
Kinda.
A little bit. Some interesting topics, I feel like, from bigger topics that we're going to pull out. And the first one I want to actually go with is, well, your fellow Puerto Rican, Edgar Berlanga, held a press conference with Hamzah Sheeraz, and we all know it was entertaining on Berlanga's part, right? Very entertaining. I don't know if you guys saw it. They are set to fight, and this is a massive card, in my opinion. We're going to be talking about 2 other cards later on the show, but your thoughts just on what we saw at this spectacle? Because listen, Berlanga was selling this fight a little bit, right?
I mean, somebody kind of has to. I mean, you called this a massive card. I think we're overstating it a little bit.
It's a massive card to nerd, like boxing nerds.
Yeah.
I love this
I don't
card
even
and
know.
I'm excited for it.
I don't even know if that's the case. If I'm going to be honest, not to sound like a Debbie
I
Downer here.
I like this card. We were like, you know what? Let's go through the card
Yeah,
because
I'm pulling it up right now as you're talking.
and you guys drop your comments because obviously this is an interactive show and we love that you guys join us. We see the OG XL
Yes.
in the chat already. One of our day ones. We live. Let's go. Love from Cali. Thank you, XL. XL also says, oh, back again. We know this. XL thinks Inoue's overrated. Berlanga is gonna lose. Oh, dude, Jordan is gonna get stalled out at 147 like Benavidez was at 168.
Who's going to get stalled out at 147?
Jordan.
That's a typo, but like, who's the typo for is what I'm trying to
That's what I was
figure out.
thinking. Yeah. Stalled out at 147.
There's not a Harden. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Or
XL.
maybe
Jaron, probably. But
oh,
Boots.
Jaron Ennis.
Okay.
Jaron Boots Ennis. Okay, that makes more sense.
Oh my goodness.
I was thinking, and he's gonna get stalled out. Never mind. You know what, XL? It's
Early.
okay. It's early on the West Coast. It's like 9 a.m. So you might be getting your breakfast or something like that. So let us know, though. Let us know, okay?
All right. Here's the card. So this is what we're gonna see on July 12th. This is the day after the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano rematch, and a whole bunch of other interesting fights that are going to be at a proper venue for boxing, Madison Square Garden. Here we have, obviously, we don't know if it's TKO. Well, it's not TKO yet. It's going to be, I think, a Riyadh season card. But and Oscar De La Hoya is obviously behind this as well because you see him right here as a promoter. This is on July 12th, Saturday of this year, Louis Armstrong Stadium. Louis Armstrong Stadium, to my knowledge, has never ever held a boxing event, and that is true. We just looked it up. So Louis Armstrong Stadium, for people who don't know, is in the United States, like the Billie Jean King Tennis Center, which is basically where, if you don't follow tennis, that's where the US Open is played. It's one of the biggest tennis tournaments of the year. It's one of the Grand Slams. It's the last big tennis tournament of the year. You have the Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and then you have this. French Open, Roland Garros, whatever. So I'm acting like I'm a tennis expert. Like, this is just stuff I know, but like I can't name you like the top 100 or whatever. But anyway,
Yeah.
Louis Armstrong Stadium in this tennis center is the second biggest venue there. The biggest one is Arthur Ashe Stadium, where AEW Wrestling Company has held promotional events, and that's typically where the biggest matchups in the US Open are played. Louis Armstrong is second. Louis Armstrong seats about 14,000. Arthur Ashe could go north of 23,000. Louis Armstrong Stadium is also walking distance. And by walking distance, I actually mean you can crawl between Louis Armstrong Stadium and Arthur Ashe Stadium and be there within 2 seconds. Like, they're right next to each other on the grounds of the entire center. So Louis Armstrong Stadium is going to have this boxing venue. this boxing event rather, it's going to be a boxing venue, 14,000. 14,000 is roughly what Forest Hill Stadium, which is where they used to have the US Open long time ago, could hold. Um, that's less, significantly less than Madison Square Garden, which could seat 18, 19K, and then Barclays Center, which could also seat around 18, 19K. So I feel like to some, and Arthur Ashe, as we established. So I feel like to some degree, this is almost an admission. Like, we know this can't sell out Madison Square Garden, despite Edgar Berlanga being from New York, despite Shakur Stevenson being from New Jersey, despite the fact that you have like Hamzah Sheeraz, who they're trying to build into a name, and despite the fact that you have William Zepeda Segura, who is Mexican, and despite Alberto Puello, Subriel Matias, PR versus DR, like, you can't sell out Madison Square Garden, because I feel like if you could, you would. And you're doing it at Louis Armstrong Stadium, and you're going to pass it off as you want to be different. And I think it's cool that they're going to have this. Like, visually, it's going to look nice. Louis Armstrong Stadium's a beautiful stadium. I've seen Naomi Osaka there. I've seen Madison Keys there. Like, there's some legitimately like heavy hitting tennis players who have played there because of the U.S. Open. To put a boxing venue there when you have Barclays Center and Madison Square Garden is interesting, but I think their appetite is just, hey, we want to do this at a different venue. We want to try something different, even at the cost of 4,000 or 5,000 people. If this even sells out, we'll see. We'll see if that's even the case, because Edgar Berlanga has not fought at a venue, or at least not main evented at a venue bigger than the MSG Theater, which seats around 5,000-6,000 people. So I wonder what the play is beyond, hey, this is just going to be different. And I would assume for this one, there will be fans there, because why would you have the stadium to begin with? So it doesn't seem like it's going to be another VIP thing. And I think this is an admission of, hey, they fucked that one up, because the Times Square one was a dud. It was awful. And on top of that, there were rumors about Central Park, quote unquote, being the second location. And remember, Shantelle, we mentioned that as we were talking about, hey, this card got announced. It was announced in New York City. They didn't have a venue. They didn't announce a venue until now. It took a few weeks. And I think it's because they wanted to test drive Times Square and see if it was possible to do Times Square again. They're not. And to see if it's possible that they're doing maybe something else, like a Central Park or whatever. And they probably were like, all right, let's just do an actual proper venue, and maybe they'll revisit the other ideas down the line. That's just sort of my take on it. As far as the actual card, I mean, you think this is, I think this is a good, interesting card, but I don't think it's like the card of the year. I don't even think it's the card of that week, I'll be honest with you.
Well, let's go back to where they're going to be fighting and where this venue is, because as you mentioned, if you know tennis, Arthur Ashe Stadium is probably one of the most famous stadiums in North America, around the world. So if you're going to put this in a tennis stadium and you want the ambience of it being outside, like, Arthur Ashe Stadium is hella cool. So is Louis Armstrong. It's very cool. But we all know that our Arthur Ashe Stadium is, like, it's known all over the world, right? Like Times Square. It's one of those things. It has cachet to it. So the fact that it's not at Arthur Ashe kind of told me a lot, because I think if they wanted to, they could have put it at Arthur Ashe. And we know Brian just went over the numbers.
They weren't selling that out.
They could have had it at Madison Square Garden, but you don't believe they could sell that out either.
No.
You don't believe that so this is the thing. It's really interesting to see, and I'm just going to say it, there's a lot of propaganda that's going on with these events that are being put on by Turk. And I'll just say it straight up, because that's what it is. But it is at the same time cool, because sometimes, Brian, I feel like a smaller venue is kind of dope. I love the smaller venues. I don't really necessarily love being in such a huge venue. Like, I don't really love stadium concerts, like the big stadium ones that are in football arenas. I don't love it because it's so far away, right? I like more, I guess, intimate concerts, like more of like, smaller stage, maybe like 5,000 people. I love those things. Like,
I feel that way about stand-up also.
Yeah, before rappers or comedians blow up. I love that. So that's kind of my bag. So I understand that it's not at the biggest places it could be. And maybe that is because they don't believe it could sell, especially during a time where there's so much going on. It's summertime. But at the same time, I'm not mad at it being at a smaller venue, so it could really capture how dope this card could be. Because I'm looking at the card, Brian, and I absolutely love it. You got David Morrell fighting on there, who he lost to David Benavidez, but was coming up. and he's very, very good. L on the record doesn't mean anything. You got Alberto Puello, who I believe is one of the most underrated fighters and a champion at that in this division at 140 pounds, taking on Subriel Matias. We know how many Puerto Ricans are in New York. This is a massive fight. I don't know who's going to win this fight. This is the fight that I'm looking forward to most. You got Shakur Stevenson, whether you like him or not, whether you think he's boring or not, he is a little bit polarizing. People either want to see him lose, call him boring to his face, but he's talking that talk right now. Like, he's really trying to sell this fight with him and William Zepeda. And William Zepeda's like, hey, I'm just here. I'm just here.
In a
I'm doing
full
my thing.
suit. You saw
like
that?
super professional. And Zepeda's got fans as well. And as you always say, they got Mexicans in New York. You know what I mean? I think people are going to show out for William Zepeda as well. I hope that's an entertaining fight. I just know how it's going to go, and I don't think it's going to be entertaining. Like, that's how I feel about it. And then listen, Edgar Berlanga, whether you like him or not, he's good for the sport of boxing. He has it all. Okay. He had a crazy knockout streak when he was coming up. He also got at the same time a lot of attention because he stopped knocking out dudes. And then we were like, where were the knockouts? He was set up to fail after that knockout streak. He's from New York. He's cool with all the rappers. He dresses really wavy. The girls like him. He has it all. Like, I'm telling you, he's good for boxing. And he's fighting a guy, Hamzah Sheeraz, who in the UK, people love him, right? People think that he's really good, that he has a lot of power, and he's a pretty boy over there across the pond. Like, girls like him. So I'm just saying, like, this is actually a really good fight. And listen, there's a lot of UK fighters, and we got a lot of, UK listeners and viewers and friends of the show. Sometimes they get exposed when they come here to the States. I'm just saying.
Sometimes it happens in Saudi Arabia, like it did for Sheeraz at his last fight, low key.
Yes, exactly.
Can we we'll get into the card. We also got some comments. We're gonna post some comments right now. I just want to say about this card, like the fight that I'm personally most interested in, the nerd boxing fan in me,
Puello Matias.
The nerd boxing analyst, if you will. Puello Matias is the one where I'm like, oh, like that's a real, even though Puello's not like the name, so to speak, and Matias, I think, is honestly like a bigger name in the sport, despite only having won a title once. Puello's been a champion multiple times, but that's a really captivating fight to me. Maybe culturally, you know what I mean? Like, look, behind me, I have literally a Dominican flag and Puerto Rican boxing gloves, I myself am not Dominican, but
just to make that clear, right?
Yeah.
Like, just to go on record, but yeah, I mean, that's a great rivalry.
Yeah, there's also a baseball that says Aruba on it somewhere behind me, because I got that when I was in Aruba. Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, I think is a fight that we've been waiting for because, well, William Zepeda has been the mandatory for Shakur Stevenson for a while and had to beat Tevin Farmer twice, and neither time was convincing. And honestly, he lost at least one of those fights. But we all think Shakur Stevenson is just going to like outbox him. There's some people who think this is going to be like Mayweather Gotti. I don't know if it's going to be like that. I would love for Shakur Stevenson to have a Pretty Boy Floyd type of performance, but I think he's more of a Money Mayweather type of guy that he takes after the late stages of Floyd Mayweather, not the early stages that people forget about where he was fucking people up. Different style. And Hamzah Sheeraz versus Edgar Berlanga is very interesting to me, more interesting than Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, because I feel like I have an idea of how that's going to go. Maybe I'll be wrong. Always open to being wrong and adapting with new information. But with Hamzah Sheeraz and Edgar Berlanga, you have two very flawed fighters who are going to main event this. And I feel like there's a lot to lose here. We have a super chat.
Yeah. So if you donate to the show, we go to the super chat right away. And we do appreciate you because Clifton has actually been rocking with the show. Clifton, we've seen your comments. Thank you so much for the kind words and supporting the show. And he said, and also donated $10 saying, glad to catch some of the live supporting. Thank you so much, Clifton, for rocking with the show.
Yeah. And to answer XL's question. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. My fiance is Dominican. So that's why. I don't know if she'll be rooting for Alberto Puello against Subriel Matias. She might not care like that. All right, let's see what we have in the chat as we talk more about this card. And I want to pull up actually the box recs of the two main eventers because I want to do a little bit of not an audit. Shout out to Office Honcho, but like we want to look through like some of the performances that these guys have had recently. So Afro Soul says that headline fight is more for Sheeraz than it is for Berlanga being from NY. And Afro Soul, he says Sheeraz is Turk's guy. I think that should tell you a lot because clearly, very clearly, the bigger name here is Edgar Berlanga, at least here where the fight's going to be. And by here, I don't just mean New York, I mean in the States. Sheeraz is undefeated, but like the majority of us think he should have lost to Carlos Adames in his last fight. And now he's moving up to now he's going to be in a new weight class. BoxRec actually has this wrong. They have this listed at middleweight. This should be super middleweight because Sheeraz is moving up to Berlanga's weight class. And it kind of doesn't make sense that Sheeraz is the A side here, but whatever.
How is he the A side? This is what I'm trying to figure out. And obviously that has to do with Turk. And I want to get to some of these comments that people are leaving. I want to get to the one by 5-star because I think this is a good comment. Thank you, 5-star, for dropping this. Sheeraz has power, but he has good boxing skills as well. Unlike Berlanga, who will only rely on power, I know who I'm going with. I think Berlanga has gotten better in terms of skill, in terms of fighting a full fight. And I do think the experience that he's gotten lately, obviously his last fight against Canelo, I don't think he should have gone on the Canelo tour after, whatever he did.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I think he's gotten better, and it's not just power, but we're going to find out in this fight. I also want to get to XL because he's dropped some very good comments. He said, I think Turkey is the best thing that's happened to modern day boxing. He's putting on the fights the other promoters didn't. Now the fighters choosing not to fight is their problem to the fans. It's interesting. Also, XL dropped another comment.
It's not even the best card of the week.
Going back to my point on Turkey, he's bringing the old school boxing back where losses won't end a fighter's career. I do like that guys are putting their O's on the line.
Are they though? Are they? We just saw the Times Square card where everyone sucked. We just saw the Times Square card where everyone was putting their best foot forward allegedly. It's like, no, they got paid and they left.
It's
what are
hard.
We talking about? Like we've done this show already. This Turkey is the best thing to happen.
Yo, Clifton also dropped another comment. Who's really the A side? Being Sheeraz is Turk's guy. That's the thing. Like Sheeraz should not be the A side in this fight against Edgar Berlanga when he's coming up in weight, and at the same time, it's in New York.
He could win. Look, he could win. He could definitely win. Like is Berlanga being set up here? Maybe.
There's going to be two things that either happen in this fight.
But he still is dangerous because like he could knock out Sheeraz. We don't know. I don't know how I'm betting this fight. We'll see when the odds drop.
Sheeraz could also knock him out. Like let's keep it real here because Berlanga has been chinny in the past.
I actually don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know who I'm picking for this fight yet. Like I could tell you who I'm picking for Stevenson and Zepeda, and I could probably
Shakur by decision.
Yeah, I could probably tell you Matias Puello, but I want to dive into that a little bit more because I don't want to underrate Puello. And then obviously David Morrell. I mean, with all due respect, I think we might. Now he's in a real fight, but we might go into David Morrell's side of it.
Yeah.
But
oh wait, we just got another donation.
Yeah.
Shout out to XL, by the way, OG of the show. He was subscribing to our show when we had like less than 50 subscribers. He said, salute to the best boxing channel out there. Respect to the pretty, unbiased, knowledgeable Shantelle. Oh, thanks. And Bryan. He gave you a shout out too. And I think
he did it like side-eyeing me because I didn't like his Turk comment. Here we go. Clifton Dennis. A lot of people hate on Turk. He's given us many fights we couldn't get without him. We can't blame Turk for the poor performances we've recently seen. Well, when you're paying people a lot of money, it'll make them more risk averse. Like a lot of money, it'll make them more risk averse. I think we overstate the cards that he's putting on. Again, like if you want to compare, I mean, look, this is the card from the day before. This is a better top to bottom card than the one that we're going to see at Louis Armstrong Stadium. That's actually probably going to sell out Madison Square Garden because Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano are infinitely bigger names than Hamzah, Sheeraz, and Edgar Berlanga. They just are, and better boxers at this point. And then you have like this entire, like you have championships on the line. You have Alicia Baumgartner's return. You have all these signings. Like this is MVP. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like a Jake Paul guy from the standpoint of he's amazing for boxing or whatever, but they're building a real thing over there. They signed Ellie Scaldi. They signed Yamalith Mercado. They signed Dina Thorslin, Sharetta Metcalf, Tamta Ball, who we both think is going to be phenomenal. Like, this is a better card. It just is. And it's the day before.
I know. I love this card. Like, I would, if I was in New York, I would go to this card right here. Also, Tam is going to be.
I'm trying to look. Canadian. I would like to go to both. I would like to go cover both. I just hope that NBA free agency isn't going that crazy that second week of July.
It'll probably be going pretty nuts. But I will say that I think we're set up for a really good weekend in boxing. I like both cards, Brian, and I'm not going to sit here. I like the Turk card, and I'm not mad that it's at a smaller stadium, at a smaller venue, because I think the atmosphere will be doper. Because what have we seen on those Saudi cards? What have we seen in those Saudi cards,
dude?
Dude,
wrong here.
You don't think it'll be good?
No. You said the atmosphere will be doper. It will not be, because did you
then
see
Times Square?
Oh, then Times Square, yes, but not then the Madison Square Garden card.
No, that's not what I'm comparing it to.
Okay.
No,
Times Square, yeah, because Times Square there was no atmosphere.
No, but I'm just saying, not even just Times Square, just the cards Turk has put on in terms of it being in Saudi, like Latino night in Saudi. Terrible.
I mean, even the Canelo card.
Terrible. That's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing it to
this is what I'm not saying about, like,
Taylor and Serrano.
He's giving us the fights. Yeah, thank you for Canelo versus Williams School. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Awesome.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think compared to the other cards and where they were, I like the fact that it's at a smaller venue, and I like the card. I think the card is dope. I would alone be going for Puello and Matias. That's what would help me go to that card. I'd be like, yo, I want to see it. It's at an outside venue, like in the summertime. Hell yeah, I'm going to go. I would be down to go to that 100%. Now, the one at Madison Square Garden, I think top to bottom, the card is dope. And it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
It's but it is what it is. But yes, Turk, yes, you're saving boxing and all this bullshit. I don't even know what the fuck is going to happen with TKO at this point, because now there's reports, although I don't know if they're credible. But now there's reports coming out about, like, him and Dana White, it's not getting off the ground yet or whatever. I don't know what's real and what's not in this sport. We can't tell. Let's get to some other stuff as it relates to this presser. So we have Edgar Berlanga, Hamzah, Sheeraz, just talking. Edgar Berlanga, he's going to talk at every single press conference he's at. This is from Queensberry Promotions on Twitter. Let me know if you can hear it.
Comes to fight the first round, I'm knocking him out. Bad.
First of all, Shantelle, you mentioned his wardrobe. Look at all these fucking chains on his neck. Look at this shit.
I know, it's crazy.
Like this.
It's crazy, but let him do his thing, right? Like, let him be wavy.
Bad, like super bad. I'm knocking him out.
Do you think he stands in the middle with you and fights, as you say, in the first round, or do you think he boxes with you?
I don't know. Let's see, I talked a lot of shit. So,
bro, how are you talking about boxing when you ran 12 rounds from Canelo?
Damn, he didn't have an answer for that.
That was actually a good comeback from Hamzah.
I mean, he should have said, but you got outboxed by Carlos Adames, who you're like 10 inches taller than.
I thought Adames won that fight.
Me too.
And I was upset for Adames. To be honest with you, I was really upset.
He said it too. He's like, of course they were gonna rob me. And then you got Rolly Romero talking about how they didn't give me a hotel room and I fucked up all their plans. Man, get out of here with this shit. All right.
You already know what time it is, man. I'm knocking this mother
from Fight Hub TV.
Just like that. Listen, we in New York. This is my backyard. You know what I'm saying? His manager. That's his manager over there that was talking to you. Yeah.
Chat. It's Bryan with the Y. It's on the screen. You guys keep saying. You guys keep spelling Bryan with an I. Like, Bryan with the I is usually how white dudes spell Bryan. All right, Bryan with the Y is more common for, Latinos. And
is it really? I didn't know that. That makes sense.
I don't know if it's factually correct, but I feel
I don't know another Bryan with a Y.
Most of the Bryans that I know with an I are white dudes. Most of the Bryans I know with the Y are, people like me.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. That tripping. He bugging out. He's saying that Sheeraz gonna knock me out, and not even his own fighter believe that. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, man, we here. He said we overlooking him. I don't overlook no fighter. You know what I'm saying? You see what happens.
Listen, you're already talking about the Canelo fight.
Shut up.
You're already talking about the Canelo fight.
Listen. You gotta gift your last fight, bro. You gotta gift your last fight. You know that. You lost that your trainer knew that you lost the fight, bro.
Listen, we're not talking about the
your
past.
Your trainer even knew you
if
lost the fight,
about the past,
your trainer even knew you lost the fight. And now you up Andy Lee, which I knocked his fight out. We went broke his face, broke everything in his face, broke every bone in his face.
You didn't knock him out,
Andy Lee. Fuck you up and Andy Lee the same night. You heard? That what? The f out of here. You crazy. Look. We're gonna put you in a fucking pack, you heard?
Jesus Christ. Edgar, look, as someone who's been basically covering Edgar for 7+ years at this point, I always mention La Cultura, Puerto Rican boxing documentary. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. It won awards. Some of the ones behind me, we got like awards for that. And Edgar Berlanga was a big part of that because he was the main boxer in it. But it's no surprise. It's just like how he conducts himself, so to speak. And it's no surprise that he's very polarizing in the sport. Did you see this tweet? I'm going to go back. Yeah, all the Pagebacker highlights that I have to use for this other show. Raging Babe, who also promotes, and she's been talking about boxing for a long time, tweeted at Edgar Berlanga after Edgar Berlanga called her a hater or whatever, and Edgar Berlanga changed his profile picture to this photo of Canelo having a cut on his face. Or
but he did it nicely. He was like, "You're such a fucking hater, shorty." Like, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't like an asshole about it, you know. So I thought that was funny.
This is what Raging Babe says about Edgar Berlanga. This is a week ago, but I had to bring this up because we're talking about this now. Quote, this is from her. "You're such a fucking fraud, kid. Funny how you took offense to my tweet without being mentioned. Turning a lopsided loss to Canelo into a victory parade tour is not a flex." This is where I was like, okay, I have to keep reading this. Calling yourself the best boxer ever out of New York isn't the flex you think it is, especially when you're not even the biggest one to come out of Brooklyn. Tyson, Breland, Bo, Malignaggi, Zab. The list is just off the top of my head. Fighting a walking corpse with absolutely no shame is not a flex. That's referring to Berlanga's last opponent, which was a first-round knockout win. Being cool with Lubin after he posted a video of stopping you in sparring is not a flex. You couldn't carry Tito Trinidad's jockstrap, let alone match his legacy. Keith Connolly is the real MVP of your career, and I said what I said.
I think Afro Soul, good friend on the show, got it right here. This is great analysis. She cooked him. She did. Like, that's crazy.
I've brought up on this show before about the boxing coach who showed me the video of Edgar Berlanga getting knocked out into amateurs and was like, this is why they're going to try to rush him in the pros. I remember this every so often because the boxing trainer who said this, also from New York, she was actually from Queens. And Berlanga, like, he hasn't been knocked out yet. We've seen him dropped multiple times. And this getting to the actual fight of this now, this is a dangerous fight for him. But it happens. Any thoughts on what we just saw before I get to some Shakur Stevenson stuff?
No, here's the thing. I love that she actually cooked him, but I thought like boxers are being more, I guess, vocal when, you know, media is calling them out, and Shakur Stevenson did it to Mike Coppinger.
Well,
like we have to get into this.
Thank you for teeing that up. Shakur Stevenson, and honestly, I have mixed feelings about this because, like, not just because I'm media technically, but not technically I am, but at the same time, it's like Mike Coppinger is not the worst commentator in boxing. I think we have. I'll just play this. Let me shut up. I'm sorry, guys. Let me play this and then we'll talk about it. But this is Shakur Stevenson talking to Mike Coppinger in a Ring interview. Mike Coppinger works for the Ring now.
Tough fight on paper, at least, against William Zepeda. Tell us why it won't be tough in the ring.
First, I want to say we were by far the worst commentator and interviewer in the business. Actually, this is his third take. But, William Zepeda is a great fighter.
Tough fight
Stop
on
right
paper,
there,
at
Bryan.
least, against William Zepeda.
Okay, first off, if you're ever doing an interview, you don't do takes. I will say that. You don't do takes. I never redo a take. I've never redone a take. It's never happened in my 12-year career live on national television. I've never done it. I've never done a take like that. You don't have a guest. If you fuck up and you just keep going. You better land in a smooth sailing. I'll say that. So Shakur is right. Like if you're doing 3 takes in front of Shakur Stevenson, that's bad, Bryan. I hate to say it. Like, when have you ever sat with an athlete and then done a take 3 times? It's never happened to me, not once. If I butchered something in my first line, I just keep going. I'll land.
Yeah.
I might trip a little bit, but I'll land. I'll have a smooth landing. So I actually wasn't mad at this. So, and this is great because Steven just said Shakur can be entertaining. He's entertaining in this. So continue to play it.
No, that was it. That was the whole clip. Because they don't play like the actual interview. There's another clip of like just the presser, which we'll get to soon.
Because Mike Coppinger has a comeback when he says that. So like it's interesting.
Oh, what did he say? Because that's not part of this.
Okay. Well, he was just like, I forget what he said, but it was very sarcastic.
Okay, probably.
Like, it was very sarcastic.
A couple things on this is, one, you're not wrong, because I'm thinking about it. All right, I generally, the only time I ever retake stuff is if I'm taping something long. Taping something long, but it's just me, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just me, like something I'm putting on YouTube or whatever. But if I'm sitting with an athlete or if I'm sitting with someone else in the media and we're doing something, like, no, you just kind of roll with it. And if you fuck up, you could actually still make it funny and entertaining. And it's like, who cares at that point if you could play it off really well or lean into it? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, it can actually be turned into a really good thing. This was obviously a little more contentious because these guys don't have the greatest relationship, it appears. What I don't like also is, and this is a little inside baseball, but Ring Magazine putting Mike Coppinger in this position, meaning not that he's basically like, you're sitting with Shakur, who you don't have like the greatest relationship with, although that could be setting him up to fail also. But Ring Magazine, I didn't use their Twitter account, but Ring Magazine actually posted this clip. They posted this on their social media. You and I originally saw this on their Instagram page, and they posted Shakur Stevenson basically playing their own newsbreaker, their own reporter. ESPN would never do this with Shams Charania or Woj back in the day, or Adam Schefter. FS1 would never do this with Nick Wright or Colin Cowherd, so on and so forth. Like, this would never be a thing. Meadowlark would not do this with Dan Le Batard unless they're leading into a joke, because they joke around all the time. But this is like also putting your guy that you hired in a bad spot. And if I were Mike Coppinger, I'd be pissed, not at Shakur Stevenson, but at Ring Magazine.
Let me tell you guys a little quick story about media. I was in a clip that went viral because this athlete cussed in a post-game interview. And then it went everywhere, and the team was like promoting it. And the national network that I worked for, which is like equivalent, I still work for them, which is equivalent to like the ESPN in the States. They told this team that if they do that again, they're not going to come there and do games. They legit said that. And like, I heard that was a thing. And that's like,
it's basically Canada's ESPN people. That's just basically what the network.
And it wasn't like I didn't think it was a bad clip or anything, but like the team was promoting it, right? And it showed him cussing on our airwaves, and they didn't like that. Like, they hated it. So,
although it didn't make you look.
It didn't make me look bad, but it
Right.
made kind of like. But at the same time, I just kept going with the interview. I was like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like shake or anything, but they just didn't like it because he cussed on the network and he knew not to, and it's a national game, right? Yeah. And it's like, why are you doing that? But then they were promoting it. Like, the team itself was promoting it, and the network was like, nah, like, you guys need to stop doing that, because if you don't stop doing that, you know, we'll see how many games y'all got there. But
and they have the pull to do that. We have some questions, some comments. Some people did note the why. So I appreciate that. I'm just saying because it's on the screen. I mean, you know, it's just right there. But I appreciate that. We have.
Yeah, Nader, we won't put that up because maybe I shouldn't have told that story. It's just for y'all. It's just for y'all, that story.
Steven, yeah, if you tune in live, this is what you get. Steven says Coppinger should be glad he's not in a Saudi prison for messing up 3 times. That's a funny joke. Clifton and XL are going back and forth talking about, what are you guys talking about? He should have gone back at Kerr. We're calling Shakur Kerr. My basketball brain is like Steve Kerr, who just lost in the playoffs. Yeah. The Golden State Valkyries game last night, actually. Tons of ammunition to get at Kerr. And XL, I don't want to call Shakur Kurd. It feels weird to me, but
Yeah.
but I get it. You're cutting off a syllable. It's efficient. XL, speaking on Shakur, what do you guys make of the Breakfast Club interview with Shakur and the back and forth he
Well,
had with Edgar Berlanga?
first off,
Should I pull that
I
up?
don't know that Shakur Stevenson is fighting William Zepeda. So that was the first thing. It's Zepeda.
Who
which
said Zapata again?
It was
that
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne?
Yeah, I
it
was like,
Charlemagne.
what is going on here? Like, get the name right. If you don't know, maybe just call him William, right? Like, I don't know. I just started laughing. I sent it to Brian right away. I'm like, did you know that Shakur Stevenson's fighting William Zepeda? I thought it was like the funniest thing ever, but yeah.
Clifton says,
Oh, I didn't know this. Wait, Natter, I didn't know you were from BC, man. I didn't know that. Good stuff. Sorry, he's from where I'm from, so this is cool. Thank you, Natter.
Oh, that probably explains why he follows the show. We appreciate you. Also, let us know if it's Natter or Nader. It's probably Natter.
Yes.
XL, I don't know because he wasn't really dissecting Langa, but Langa. Clifton, bro, you love cutting off the first you just hate the first you just give everyone. Are you somebody who in your life you give everyone nicknames? You know what I mean?
I love it. I think it's
Would
funny.
you call Shantelle Tell? You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I think it's actually pretty funny that he kept going with it. And look, Afro Soul is doing it now. Afro Soul is doing it. He's like, Kerr, my boy. But he was a dickhead in that interview. Okay,
Kerr, I've heard. I've never heard Langa before. Actually.
Okay, I do have a question for you, Brian, and everyone in the chat. Do you feel like Shakur Stevenson was too rude to Mike Coppinger? Like, do you feel like he's being too sensitive and emotional with things that are being said? Like, do you feel like he was in the right or?
Well, I think this will answer your question. I don't think he's being any worse I don't think Mike Coppinger's being any worse or has been any worse to Shakur than other people have. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna go on my soapbox about he shouldn't call him the worst. I feel like he could do what he feels like. I just think I blame Ring for putting him in that position and for also posting the clip and trying to drive engagement. Haha, look at this funny that happened, even though it was the guy we hired to be our top newsbreaker. Again, other media outlets would not put their top person in that position, and they hired him to be their top newsbreaker because Ring Magazine knows, all of us know, boxing don't really have actual newsbreakers like that, because everyone in this sport is full of shit. That's why I don't be trying to break news like that, even though I hear things. Let's get to actually sound from the presser real quick after Shantelle, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, really quickly. Hold on. It's Nader. And also quick shout out to Nader because he's been following me since my radio days, apparently, which is really cool. So thank you, Nader. Yeah, I think you're OG for sure. Also really quickly, okay, let's play the Shakur stuff, but I also want to, do you have a clip of Shakur and Zepeda in the face off and how Shakur kind of gets at Zepeda?
I could get it. I could pull.
Okay, we'll pull this up first because I think it was a little bit extra, but we'll get to this.
So I think this is going to be really boring, but let's see. We could laugh at how boring it is if that's the case. So I just wanted something from the press conference. This is the first thing I could guess. So this is from Golden Boy on Twitter.
Eric Gomez said it right about comparing him to Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather comparisons from Eddie Hearn. All right.
So put him with the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker, all of the greats. This is how good this man is. But for greatness, you need a great opponent. And that is William Zepeda. And this is the fight where Shakur Stevenson will show everybody how great and special he is. I think you're talking about pound for pound, #1 greatness from this man.
I think, let's run back those names, Eddie Hearn. First,
said it right about comparing him to Floyd Mayweather. I also put him with the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker, all of the greats. This is how
Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, Pernell Whitaker. Now, to be fair, there are people who think this, and there are people who think that he is pound for pound #1 potential.
Yeah.
Given
Hall of Famer names, though, those are some of the greatest names in boxing of all time. So that's the only thing. I don't think Eddie Hearn should have did that to him. I don't think that's fair to Shakur.
Clifton says, spelling these names correctly is too much work. Here's $2.
We'll let you.
I'm lazy.
We'll let you be lazy.
I appreciate the honesty. Listen, this is why we have abbreviations and shit too. People I would be calling Edgar Berlanga EB in the chat. You know what I mean? What do you think of those names, Shantelle? Like, we all know how
They're
good
Hall of
Shakur can be, but
I think, okay, here's the thing, and I've said this on the show before. I think Shakur Stevenson is such a good boxer that I think he could go undefeated throughout his career. Now, that's not to say that he's going to be entertaining in every fight. He's just that good. And I do feel like he's going to get better. I don't think he's going to stay at this weight class. I think Shakur could go up to 147 and possibly take over 147. We could see some more power from him at 147. The only guy that I think, I don't know who I'd pick in a fight is him and Tank, if him and Tank fought. But I think Shakur Stevenson can beat everybody. Now, I also think he could be pound for pound #1 boxer in the world one day. But to compare him to those names right now, I just don't think it's doing anything for Shakur. It's not. Like, people are going to hate on that. That's not doing anything for him. So, in fact, I think Eddie Hearn should just shut up in that moment. Like, he's not helping out his fighter doing that, dude. You know that.
Well, he's doing his job to promote his fighter.
But that's the wrong way to do it, dude. That's like sitting down and being like, this is the perfect example. LeBron James is just like Michael Jordan. LeBron's been fighting that his whole career. LeBron is LeBron. We're never going to see another LeBron.
You mean when he's like a rookie or even before that? Yeah, leading up.
Yeah,
to
like,
because
you know what I mean?
to be fair, like, yeah, he's had to, like, that's been the expectation for him, and at the very least, he's come pretty damn close.
Very close, yeah.
Which is crazy because, like, he's one of the only athletes who had too much hype and actually lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
And I think probably to some succeeded them. Wow.
I'd probably say exceeded them. I think LeBron exceeded
I
expectations.
think so too, because usually it doesn't pan out as well as it does. Okay, we have the face-off. There are words.
Yes.
From Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda. William Zepeda spelled wrong here by Hassan, but that's fine. Typing fast, trying to get stuff up. It happens.
Nobody but me for it. That's the best out of 3.
I don't want to get flagged for the music.
Yeah. Turn off the music. No, but I just say that.
I want to see. I'll keep playing it because right now Shakur is just chewing his gum.
Does he push him yet? Because there's a point in time. I don't know if it was this face-off, but Shakur like kind of gets a little bit.
Maybe in the one on stage.
Yeah, I think
so that Zepeda wanted to look away and Shakur just continues to want to stare at him. I hope William Zepeda surprises us. But what I saw in those 2 Tevin Farmer fights, I'm like,
oh, Jesus.
He I think he lost the first one. The second one is a little more debatable. We can give it to Zepeda, I guess. I didn't score that one as intently. I'd like to go back and watch it. But to be honest with you, I didn't think he looked great in either one. And again,
that's a great pause. You know what I mean? Like, look at Shakur's face.
Tevin Farmer is basically like a poor man's Shakur Stevenson at this stage. Like, Shakur Stevenson is obviously like a good deal better at this stage, but Tevin Farmer is still really good. And I've loved Tevin Farmer for years. Like, I've been a proponent of him for like 10 years, legitimately since the Angel Luna fight. And he's actually the first boxer I ever did a feature story on when I was writing in newspapers. First one. But if he could do that to Zepeda, then it's like, you would think. It doesn't always work out this way in boxing. Because Rolly Romero just did it with Ryan Garcia, where it's like, oh, you saw how he looked against all these other guys. Like, yeah, he should be able to take care of Ryan Garcia. And unfortunately, for people who had bigger plans, didn't happen that way.
This is kind of interesting. Shakur Stevenson is trying to sell this fight like crazy, because if we go and take a look at some of the press conference where they're on stage, he's trying to get at Zepeda. Zepeda's not really giving him too much. Shakur's really trying to sell this fight because I think Shakur knows what's on the line in terms of how many people want to see his fight and how many people call him entertaining. And I do think it's taking a toll on him, because why else would he snap on Mike Coppinger? Like, why is he snapping on these dudes, right? Like, so I think there was a little bit of insecurity there, to be honest with you. But I don't think Shakur should feel that way. I think he should fight how he fights. And if he wins, he wins. Like, not everyone's going to enjoy your fight style, dude. Right? Like, but he's good. Yeah. So that's how I feel about Shakur. Like, I think he should just be himself, because he's great. He's going to get to greatness regardless. I know how this fight is going to go. And going back to William Zepeda, I like Zepeda, But Tevin Farmer won the first fight, and you could say that Tevin Farmer won the second fight too if you wanted to, if you really wanted to.
All right, let's we badly need to get to our next topic.
With the guy who we want to fight Tank, actually.
yeah, actually. Especially because in a few minutes here, the Liberty are playing the Aces, and I would like to see that. We have Clifton. I agree with Shantelle on Kerr, and LeBron James has exceeded expectations. Nader says Shakur very well might reach those heights in the next 5 fights or so. I think he needs the opponents. Zepeda is actually going to be his second best win after Oscar Valdez, I would say at this point. Yeah. And I think it's a good opponent. Like, this is a necessary opponent for him at this stage. And then after this, it's like, all right, is it going to be like people are going to want Tank, but maybe it'll be somebody else. It's not going to be Keyshawn Davis. They're too close. I don't think they're ever going to fight each other.
Do you think Loma will come back? Because we haven't seen Loma in a very long time.
Well, Loma's supposed to he has a deadline to come back, and he's supposed to fight Raymond Murataya next. And now we found out Andy Cruz is having an eliminator. Oh, okay. So the way the IBF is doing this is like, Loma, are you going to come back or not? Because we have an interim champion in Raymond Murataya. If you're going to come back, you have to fight him at some point. And then Andy Cruz, assuming he wins his next fight against, I'm forgetting who, but Japanese dude. But let's assume Andy Cruz wins, because he probably will. Andy Cruz would just be the mandatory. And then it's like, okay, This is where Loma is. He's going to have to fight Murataya. And then they'll probably be like, all right, if you beat Raymond Murataya, if I think he should, but I don't know. He's older now and he's less active. But the winner of that fight would face, theoretically, Andy Cruz. So Loma might be tied up for a while by the IBF is the point, if he even comes back. So
yeah, we don't know if he is. And Afro Soul says, Loma's pissing me off. Okay, I think a lot of people are waiting for this. We want to know what he's doing. But that's a great comment by Afro Soul. But Brian, I think it's time we get to our next topic.
Yes.
Because it was officially, well, not officially announced, it was reported that Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach are set for August 16th. We are going to be getting the rematch.
In Vegas.
Yes, in Vegas. So Vegas is going to get this fight after it was in New York, this fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember I was there and I fucking got back at like 5 a.m. almost because the press conference took so long.
So here's the biggest question. How excited are we for this fight? Did Lamont Roach expose Tank? What's up?
No, I was going to say, this is published by Jake Donovan and Lance Puckmeyer. So this absolutely has like legitimate sourcing behind it.
Okay, great.
So boxing scene has confirmed the WBA lightweight title fight rematch is set to headline PBC Prime, yada, 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 August 16th, T-Mobile Arena. You know the rest. Okay, so this is where we're basically at. Brunch Boxing actually broke this, and then Boxing Scene confirmed it. The Boxing Scene confirmation is important there because they're obviously very well sourced. I'm excited for this rematch only because the first fight was the first fight. And it's like, are we just at a point where, like, is Lamont Roach Tank's kryptonite? Like, even though Tank is like, no, for real, like, you have these dudes who are just seen as better, but they've known each other. These two have known each other for a while. Does Lamont Roach just understand a way to beat or frustrate Tank in a way that others don't? You know what I mean? Like, has he just found it, so to speak? Like, I have a lot I want to find out after that because the first fight was so controversial. I think leaving it up to a draw is fine, whatever, even though under the letter of the law, Tank probably should have lost this fight and probably would have if they counted the knockdown when he took a knee. He blamed it on grease. I assume he won't on his hair. And it could get greasy. Like Amanda Serrano was like, yo, that's what fucking put me out of a fight in Puerto Rico. And then we were subjected to her beating the shit out of Stevie Morgan not that long later. So like, that's kind of what it is. But I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this because of the first fight. And I think you have to give Lamont Roach a real shot, even though I still would say Tank figures it out and gets it done and takes it more seriously this time.
Yeah, I think that because they're so familiar with each other, like these guys fought each other when they were kids. And then Lamont Roach comes into the ring and listen, regardless, like Lamont Roach came in there and he was confident. And I don't think a lot of people believe that he was going to be able to get it done against Tank. people thought that Tank was going to knock him out. Here's the thing, though. Tank is actually super skilled. Like, he doesn't throw a lot. When he does, he's extremely accurate, but he does have skill. And what he does is he reels in his fighters, and he ends up landing big shots on them that end up knocking his opponent out. I think Tank didn't look like Tank in this fight. Like, I don't actually know what was going on. And you kind of said this too, Bryan, because you were at the fight, that Tank didn't really seem like the regular Tank that you've seen in the past. Like, you know, there was some stuff going on with him and Calvin Ford after the fight. This is all speculation. I was not there. I just saw what you guys saw, if you saw it on TV or if you were there. But I feel like there was a lot going on in this fight, and Tank didn't seem like himself. Do I think Tank is going to lose this second fight against him? No, I don't. I think Tank is the best lightweight in the world, and I think he's going to look better in this fight. So Lamont Roach, he has to fight the most perfect fight against Tank again to win. Can he do it? Maybe, but I think Tank is going to look better, and he's going to look like Tank. There was something going on in this fight, Bryan, where Tank looked different, and I don't know what it was.
I'm glad you brought that up. We actually have the video up on our channel. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's like 15 minutes or something like that. But we have the whole video up on our channel. Calvin Ford and Barry Hunter, they talked about like the coaching situation because they were asked about it at the press conference. And Gervonta Davis, you know, they had a coaching switch basically in terms of who was the head coach, so to speak, because typically it's Calvin Ford. This time around was Barry Hunter. Calvin Ford said it's nothing. You know, sometimes we switch, yada, yada, but people were playing into that a lot. You know, they were talking about like, hey, they may have been in an exchange where they yelled at each other and all these different things. So assuming they clean that up, get refocused here, I think it'll be fine. Also, we have a couple interesting comments here that I want to get to, but I think that's an important point that you bring up, because how is the coaching situation going to sort itself out in August? And is it even a big deal? You know what I mean? Like, is this a thing where it's like, you know, sometimes you see this in sports, you have one game and it's like, you know, they catch you slipping on game one, but then it's like, all right, you bounce back on game two. Now that didn't happen to the Celtics or the Cavs, but typically that's what happens. You know what I mean? Let's see. Day, we haven't posted any of your comments yet. Thank you for checking in. Not exposed. People just underestimated Roach because when it comes to Tank, he brings a lot of casuals to boxing. So when they don't see a knockdown, they instantly think Tank loses. I also think it's because Lamont Roach had a debatable decision win not that long before against Hector Luis Garcia. It was split, and it was very close after Tank beat him. Now, Hector Luis Garcia was very competitive in that Tank fight. People forget up until the part where he just stopped. Like, he's like, yo, I can't see, or whatever it was. But that I thought it was very close on the cards, and the cards will reflect that, at least one or two of them, that was a close fight before.
I thought, I'm on record saying, I thought Lamont won. I thought Lamont won 7 rounds to 5.
No, but I was saying even the Hector Luis Garcia fight with Tank, like that was very close before it got stopped. And Hector Luis Garcia then almost beat Lamont Roach despite getting dropped in the end, but he got dropped, and that ultimately was.
But going back to the Tank and Roach fight, I had Lamont Roach winning 7 rounds to 5. That's how I had it scored, and I watched the fight like 6 times, and I got the same score 6 times. So that's how I had it scored.
Nader. Yes, the thing is, Tank's style expects a knockout, and if he can't get that done, his style doesn't lend to winning on points. Yeah, and this is why you often see he'll be down on the cards by the time he stops somebody, or it'll be even. You know, it'll be like very close.
I had Rolly up on the cards before Rolly got knocked out.
You're not alone. One of the judges did as well. But like Ryan Garcia, for example, like that was one of the examples where he didn't win a round in that fight, really. Like he may have won one, but like that was a little different. But Hector Luis Garcia got rounds off of Tank, as did Isaac Cruz, as did Rolly Romero. Frank Martin actually was doing pretty well before he got dropped and stopped. And obviously Lamont Roach. And you could probably go back further and you could find rounds. You might even be able to find rounds that Yuriorkis Gamboa freaking got off of Tank, because he'd be starting so damn slow. Even Tank mentioning retirement during fight promotion had me thrown off. So Tank has said he wants to retire pretty soon. He said like end of this year, which I never buy that, but
that's
who
crazy.
knows? I do sincerely think he does want to walk away early, though. I do think that, and he keeps saying that, and he keeps like yo, I wanna take care of myself. I want to do therapy, but I don't want to do therapy, you know, while I'm boxing because I feel like it's gonna remove my killer instinct. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he's saying. And while I think that may be a little bit like a mischaracterization of how much therapy can help you, I do think there's something to be said, given that what we saw with Deontay Wilder, where he looked like he was taking better care of himself, and then he started getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But it is what it is. Clifton says this chat is actually smart. Yeah, I feel like we've cultivated some fucking smart boxing people and just people in general in here.
We always say we have like the smartest friends of the show.
Yes,
because you guys actually know your stuff, which is why the show is like, we're always like, yo, we're gonna do a quick show. It's gonna be like 30-40 minutes, and then we end up staying an hour because you guys are the reason, because you guys have great comments.
And my favorite part is people disagreeing with each other, with us, whoever, and not being dickheads about it. You know?
Yeah, you guys are respectful. You guys are respectful, and you guys have had my back. One time there were some disrespectful dudes up in here, and you know, some OG stepped up for me. So I do appreciate you guys. I do want to get to this. Actually, DT has a great comment. Okay, so wait, let's go. Like, we're talking about rankings. We were talking about Shakur, whatever. DT says the rankings are disrespectful. Why Shakur is not in top 3 discussion? Then he says, Keyshawn Davis number 2. What are we saying? What rankings are you looking at, DT? Can you specify? Are we looking at like the Ring Magazine rankings? Like which ones? Because we would like to pull them up.
Who? He's going at Tank in the comments now. Yeah, who has? Oh, you know what? I know what DT's talking about. Actually, okay. I know what DC's talking about.
Was it ESPN's rankings?
No,
like what was this?
No. I think it's Ring Magazine's lightweight rankings.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we can pull that up. Hopefully they don't flag us.
Well, they're gonna obviously place the fighters that fight on their cards higher. And as you know, Tank and Turk have gotten into it a little bit. Tank and Turk, you know, Tank has said some stuff and he's told the truth.
No, it's true, but like, see, here we go. So this is from Ring themselves.
Okay, let's pull it up.
This is their lightweight rankings. See, screen share has really made this show better, huh? Now you could just see what we're talking about. Also, the chat isn't. So there's no vacant champion. There's no champion right now. It's vacant. Tank is number 1 on the Ring Magazine rankings, which is interesting because Tank is not messing with them dudes at all. But the writers are trying to, you know, right now it's starting off trying to be objective. We'll see how it ages. Keyshawn is 2nd, Shakur is 3rd. And I do agree. I think the reason is because maybe Shakur Stevenson hasn't been a lightweight for very long. I think that's the only argument you could use, but it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you told me this was BoxRec, and I love BoxRec, but if you told me this is BoxRec, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that tracks, whatever, just because their system is a little more analytical and it's complex as to how you actually get there. But even on BoxRec, if you look at their rankings, which I'll pull up really quickly, this is the lightweight division. Tank is 1, Shakur is 2. Now, Raymond Murataya should not be 3, but
I think you could put William Zepeda at 3 or 4. I think Lamont Roach would have to be higher than 6, no?
So let's see. Let's finish off these Ring Magazine rankings.
I do like Andy Cruz in the top 10, I'm not gonna lie.
he should be there. He should be there. I think we're running the risk of overrating Andy Cruz a little bit, but I do think he's going to be good. I think
he's going to be really good, guys.
I would like him to continue to prove it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's going to be fighting for a title within the next 2 years, maybe a year. Tank, Davis, Shakur, Zepeda, Raymond Murataya is 5th. Do we have a problem with that? Raymond Murataya is 5th. He looked good in his last fight against.
I thought he looked really good.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at that. I think for me, Murataya just has a lot to prove. He looked pretty good in his last fight, but he's someone that I feel like should be, and I feel like he should have more cachet to his name at this point. I always thought Raymond Murataya was going to be a bigger fighter at this point in his career, and he's supposed to get a big fight, like you said, Brian. So we'll see if he gets it.
Yeah, hopefully Loma or Andy Cruz is next, or maybe if Loma has a comeback fight, I wonder if the IBF will be like, all right, then you could have your stay busy fight, Raymond Murataya, and then it's like, all right, who does Top Rank pair him with? There's always going to be rumors about him and Keyshawn Davis. I don't think you do that yet. I do not.
Not
think
yet.
we do that.
This is the fight I want to see. Not yet, though. But DT, you're right on this. Andy Cruz and Keyshawn
Yes,
Davis.
I
That's a
1000%.
great fight. I love that fight.
Murataya, by the way, 28. So it's time. It's time.
He's got to move. He's got to move. This is what I'm saying, though.
Andy Cruz 6, Frank Martin 7. We have not seen him since the Tank knockout in June.
I've always liked Frank Martin.
Me too.
I hate that he's number 7, but I hope we see him in a fight where he comes back and puts on a good show.
Dennis Baranchyk 8th.
Tough fighter.
Tevin Farmer 9. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think Tevin Farmer beat Dennis Baranchyk. And maybe Frank Martin too.
I think Tevin Farmer could beat Frank Martin. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think Tevin Farmer could beat Raymond Murataya. And
then you have Sam Noakes, who was he the British champion, European champion? I think he might be one or both.
Dude, they love him. They love him in the UK.
He's got hands. Okay, now let's look at the BoxRec rankings. You guys ready for this? So we have Raymond Murataya, William Zepeda 3 and 4, Keyshawn Davis 5. This is after Tank and Shakur, obviously. Keyshawn 5, Lamont Roach 6. Lamont Roach is in the super featherweight ranking still. God damn that thumbs up. Come on, bro. Like I hate when they put the thumbs up on the screen just because I do it. It's so annoying. Lamont Roach should be on the 135 rankings, I think, if he's going to fight at 135 again. Abdullayev, who just lost, is next. You have Sam Noakes, Abdullah Mason 9, Yadier Herrera 10. And then over here, it just gets very wonky. Your boy, Kid Austin, is 16, Tevin Farmer is 17, and Tevin Farmer might fight him next. And
I actually like those. I actually like those rankings. This is BoxRec, right? Makes the most sense.
Yes.
I agree with the BoxRec rankings. Let me just say that on record. I think these rankings make sense to me.
Now that we're in the top 20, I would like to Albert Bell, please fight somebody. Please. He's 27-0. He's 32 years old.
Yikes.
Speaking of guys that gotta go, you and Brandon Lee. Honestly,
what happened to Brandon Lee?
He's got a fight coming up,
dude. Okay, so out here, like Nader, I don't like. Obviously, you're from BC. Out here in Vancouver, they love themselves some Brandon Lee.
Listen, he's on.
They love themselves some Brandon Lee. Yo.
Get this, he's gonna be on the Vito Mielnicki undercard. Vito Mielnicki is main event center. I don't know why they have Jahi Tucker here, but. Yeah. This is the main event. I'm pretty sure it's Vito Mielnicki Jr. Although this is a ranking thing. Jahi Tucker's ranked higher in his division according to BoxRec. But Brandon Lee is going to be
Isn't there a card tonight? There's fights tonight, right?
Yes. I'm forgetting who's fighting.
Because I saw that one of the Vargas brothers was fighting tonight.
You love the Vargas brothers.
I just love their dad. I am, but I was a big fan of their dad. So it's like that's why I love the whole entire Vargas family.
Thank you, Foxy, for checking in. He says he'll catch up and he hopes everyone is well. I really like the chat today. We weren't supposed to go an hour and 5 minutes, but this has been good. Saturday morning, how about that? Day says Abdullah Mason. Nader says 10. Abdullah active as hell. He might shoot up. I really like Abdullah Mason. I want to see him and Keyshawn eventually. Yo, we're getting just all the ads here.
Yeah.
Although I do use.
Do you have to buy toilet paper? Or do you have to buy paper towel?
No. I got like a whole a whole box, and I just put them in the linen closet. Like we're good.
Okay, got you. Good. So
Scott's is
I
good,
actually agree.
Hold you.
Yo, so I agree though. Abdullah Mason, I think, is probably the most interesting name on that list because the way that he's coming up and the way that Top Ring's going to push him. Because I think he can go now. Like that's how good Abdullah Mason is. I don't know if I'm being too high on him or hyping him up too much, but he's probably my favorite up and coming fighter.
This is who Brandon Lee is fighting next. You excited?
I mean, I just want Brandon Lee to fight somebody of a name, but also like, remember when Brandon Lee was just knocking out dudes left, right, and center? And you were just like, this dude's going to be good. But then like, what happened the last like 5 years?
Let's look at Brandon Lee's box. Oh, this is an 8-round.
He's only fighting an 8-rounder?
Has he fought a 10-rounder?
Yeah, he has.
Okay, there's a few
Pedro
here.
Campa.
Okay.
How did that fight with him and Pedro Campa go again? I don't think I saw that.
Unanimous decision. It was meh. This is after Teofimo stopped Pedro Campa. Why is he fighting an 8-rounder? Because we haven't seen him in 11 months? Yo,
Probably.
he's always taking tune-up fights. What are you tuning up for at this point?
Yeah, I don't know.
I like Brandon Lee, but goddamn, he's 26 now. I remember when he was 22.
Yeah, I remember when he was young and knocking out dudes. That's why I'm saying, like, what happened? He's still young. If he starts in this 8-round fight, he'll probably get a 10-round fight in his next fight.
He was
then fight someone with a name.
He was a big prospect pre-COVID. I'm not joking about this. Look.
No, I know. And people were talking about Brandon Lee because he was knocking out dudes like crazy.
He was on this card, the Salita card, because I remember he was with Salita for a while. I was 17-0. This is before Rudy Gobert touched the mics and started the pandemic. I don't actually believe that. That's a joke. Although Rudy Gobert did touch the mics and get COVID. He didn't start the pandemic, though.
Ooh, let's get to this comment right here. This is interesting. Brandon Lee, this is from HLD. Thanks for dropping a comment. Brandon Lee got his butt handed to him by
I need to rewatch that.
I don't remember watching that fight, guys. I'll have to rewatch it. Or
I don't remember him
watch
looking
it.
that
I don't remember
great,
watching
though.
it.
I don't remember him looking that great.
I don't remember Brandon Lee looking that great for a while, though. Didn't he get dropped in a fight?
Yes, here.
He
Will
got
Madera.
Okay, yeah. Will Madera. Yeah, I remember that fight. He got dropped in that fight.
Who got stopped by the murderer before that fight, 2 years before. And it's just Brandon Lee, like, bro, he signed a Matchroom last year. He won a fight on points, an 8-rounder against an undefeated fighter, Juan Anacana. Great last name. And now apparently he's fighting on this top ranked card. Like, what? So he has mismanagement too? Yo, DT, like, this is actually a good comparison. And we're about to go here. Brandon Lee is the new Jaime Munguia.
I don't know about that. Like, Jaime's kind of come up a little bit, right?
Jaime Munguia took a minute. But Jaime Munguia, to his credit, he did win the title early. And then he faded for a bit. He had some wonky performances. But yeah. There's your Brandon Lee resume audit.
It's interesting. We do want to see more from Brandon Lee. They love him out here in Vancouver because there's like a big Asian community out here.
To answer your question about who's fighting tonight.
Yes.
Before we get up out of here. And if any other questions, comments, thank you for rocking with us for so long. Super chats, always welcome. Follow us on our own channels as well. We are super busy. I've been covering the NBA playoffs at the New York Post. We're doing watch-alongs for every Knick game. And then on my own YouTube channel, doing breakdowns, boxing and stuff. Shantelle is going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. TSN got CFL coming up. Seattle Storm sidelines.
Yes.
WNBA this season. So she'll be covering the shit out of Dominique Malonga, Skylar Diggins, and a team that I think is going to be a playoff threat.
Yo, they got some. I think the Storm are underrated.
I do.
They got a squad, dude.
Yeah. So follow us on our own channels. This is one of many things we both do, and we're very busy all the time. This is why we try to do these at least like once a week, sometimes twice if there's a watch along or a post fight show. Tonight, Commerce, California. So this is probably being promoted by Tom Loeffler because this is on UFC Fight Pass, and he tends to have cards on UFC Fight Pass. Sergey Bohachuk versus Michael Fox is your main event, and you also have Mizuki Hiruta and Carla Marino for a junior bantamweight championship. Don't know why I struggle with those names. Omar Trinidad, that's interesting, is also on this card. Elijah Flores is on this card. I'm not gonna lie to you, I might be out. Like I might legitimately be outside. We'll see.
I get it. Yeah, I mean it is Saturday. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. Let's get to Foxy's comment. Actually, a couple more comments before we get out of here. So Foxy says, I caught up with the press conference. What's with Berlanga being disrespectful to Hearn? Thought he did a good job getting him the Canelo fight after 2 cherry pick wins. Bryan, your thoughts on that? Because I believe you were at that fight. And even when Berlanga announced that he was with Eddie Hearn, you were at that press conference too.
I wasn't at Berlanga Canelo, if that's what you're referring to.
No.
I was at Berlanga and I'm looking for it. Was it Quigley? Yes, it was Quigley. So that was his last fight. No, his second to last fight before the Canelo fight. And to your point, that was when DT says he's going to sleep on all those fights. Yeah, I mean, I probably am too. I ain't gonna lie to you. Jason Quigley, he won that fight. He should have got the knockout. He didn't. Quigley was tough. He got knocked down mad times. That was the first win. And then Padros McCrory, he did knock him out. Yeah, I think he got the Canelo fight a little too early, but also like Berlanga, he's not really a prospect at this point. He's 27. I think he's gonna be 28 in June, July, around that area, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, Bohachuk, he did come in 5 pounds overweight. I did see that. He weighed in 159 for this fight, and apparently they're still going forward with it because they posed and everything. I don't know. I'm not too interested in that fight, to be honest with you. Shout out to Erickson Lubin also, because he was mentioned earlier. He had a great performance last week on Pro Box, a fight that I thought would probably like be a little tougher than it was, and he made it look very easy. So he looks like he still got it. But yeah, with Berlanga, we'll see. I don't. Him talking shit about Eddie Hearn is just business stuff. They used to work together, now they don't, and he's pissed.
I mean, Berlanga was talking smack to everyone essentially at that press conference, trying to sell the fight, but hopefully we'll see how it all goes down when they fight in July.
And his point was also like he was pissed because coming off the Canelo fight, he's not the main event for a card that they have in Orlando right after. Now, you could say, hey, Edgar, you're being a little too high on yourself because you had a performance against Canelo that was okay, but you still lost, and you lost most of the rounds. No, you shouldn't be the main event on this next card. And his counter to that, in a rational sense, would ultimately be like, this card is in Orlando. Puerto Ricans are in Orlando. Okay. Like the main event was, I think, Ammo Williams's fight, and Ammo Williams lives in Florida, but he's not from Florida, and he's not from Orlando. I don't think he lives in Orlando either. Like, and be honest with you, Edgar is a bigger name than Ammo Williams. Like Jermaine Ortiz was on that card too. Edgar's a bigger name than him also, and I love Jermaine Ortiz. I think Jermaine Ortiz is underrated. If he threw more punches, he might have beaten Teofimo Lopez. But
and listen, he's not even the A side in this fight in July. Apparently, he's not the A side. So, I mean, I think Berlanga has reasons of saying those things. But nonetheless, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for rocking with us on this Saturday morning. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button because it helps the channel grow. We also want to give a shout out to everyone that left a comment today on the show. And if you're watching this after, drop your comments because we will see them. And we love it when you guys are interactive with the show. Bryan, any final thoughts before we get up and out of here?
Keep following along. We appreciate it. Follow our own channels as well. We're doing a lot of cool stuff away from the show, and we'll be back on the show next week. We want to do pound for pound rankings, and we want to do them live. So we're going to figure that out and how we're going to execute that, but that may be next week. We'll see.